welcome back to Real Reviews. This is Cody Williams, and we're here to talk about the movie Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. It is the newest sequel and coda to the beloved series that redefined the adventure genre. After recent interviews with Harrison Ford, it is confirmed that he is hanging up the fedora and whip forever, thus officially retiring the character. After the last controversial sequel from 2008, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, you could say that I'm ready for another adventure. Lo and behold, I've watched it and I'm ready to talk about it. The movie story follows Indiana Jones as he is finding himself in a new era, approaching retirement. Indy wrestles with fitting into a world that seems to have outgrown him. But as the tentacles of an all too familiar evil return in the form of an old rival, Indy must don his hat and pick up his whip once more to make sure an ancient and powerful artifact doesn't fall into the wrong hands. Well, I have to say that I was actually impressed with what I just watched. I guess it did help knowing that I went in with little to no expectations. Let's be real, it doesn't match up to the first three movies, and I really wasn't totally over the moon with this new sequel, because I do have some issues with it, and of course I'll get to that later. For now, let's talk about what the movie has going for it, whether it be the iconic Harrison Ford himself, the good acting, some flashy looking cinematography, and some cool action scenes. Easily enough, the best thing about this new sequel is, well, Harrison Ford himself. It's truly amazing with him being 80 years old and he's still able to give the audience one last thrilling adventure for Indiana Jones. I like how the story utilizes his age for the story and it worked out so very well. When it comes to the co-stars, Mads Mikkelsen was quite the show stealer as the film's main antagonist. He's a phenomenal actor in everything else he's in, and he brings that prowess into this film. I wish I could say the same for Phoebe Waller-Bridge, but her character just didn't quite cut it for me. Her character dynamics with Indy, I don't know. It felt forced. Just like any other James Mangold directed film, the cinematography in this movie is quite the extravagant feat. Many of the film's visuals are absolutely stunning to look at, especially with how the lighting was utilized in many scenes and how most of the shots were framed. If adventure has a name, it must be Indiana Jones. In this new adventure of a movie, there's plenty of seemingly non-stop action scenes to go around. Most of them are good for the most part, but seeing how some of the action scenes were a bit overboard and ridiculous at times, the movie loses any actual sense of danger. I do feel that this movie is longer in runtime than it needed to be, especially clocking in at 2.5 hours. If some fat were cut off the edges and maybe shave off some 30 minutes or so, I think the movie would have some better pacing. Let's face it, there are some scenes that do feel dragged out. In the first 20 minutes of the exhilarating opening prologue, we get a digitally de-aged Harrison Ford. It may look fine to some, but to me and assumably many others, it looks way too uncanny. I don't know, but it was just hard to adjust to, despite how amazing that opening sequence was. On top of that, there's an overabundance of CGI created environments, and also for the special effects, which are all super noticeably deterring. I wish they would have went with more practical route, but meh. Another thing that bothered me is the addition of a couple of new characters that are set to go back with Indy for a long time. Both of these characters have never been mentioned before, so you can probably understand my frustration. Other than these issues I've brought up, I had a reasonably enjoyable time with this new sequel. Overall, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny is a rather welcoming addition to the series that is a vast improvement over its preceding film, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Even though this new sequel doesn't have the same charm as the first three movies, this film is still great in its own merit. Rightfully so, there's plenty of room for improvement. I give this movie a B. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel to keep up with my real reviews.